Welcome to Vietnam Legal and Investment Insights. We're diving deep into something crucial for any business looking to make it in Vietnam, especially if you're in franchising, and that is trademark protection.
You got it. Protecting your brand is absolutely essential in this booming market.
It really is, especially with so many international brands coming into Vietnam. You pour your heart and soul into building your brand. It's like your baby, and you want to make sure it's safe and sound in this new environment.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about securing your brand's future.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to help with today in this deep dive. We'll be exploring everything you need to know about trademark protection in Vietnam, the laws, the registration process, and the strategies to keep those copycats at bay.
We'll be breaking down complex legal stuff into plain language so you can actually use this information. No jargon here.
Perfect. So let's lay the groundwork first. What's the legal scene like for trademarks in Vietnam?
Okay, so there are two main laws you need to know: the law on intellectual property and the relevant parts of the civil code. But here's the thing, especially for our listeners from outside Vietnam, Vietnam's also part of some key international agreements.
Oh, like what kind?
Well, for example, the Paris Convention and the Madrid Protocol. These agreements show Vietnam's commitment to a globally recognized system for trademark protection. So it's all about fairness and a level playing field for everyone.
Makes sense. So how do these agreements actually help businesses?
Think of it this way. If your trademark's already registered in, say, another country that's part of these agreements, chances are Vietnam will recognize and protect it here, too.
So it can streamline things for companies expanding internationally.
You got it.
That's awesome. And what about Vietnam's membership in the World Trade Organization, WTO, and following the TRIPS agreement?
These are super important, too. Being part of the WTO and adhering to the TRIPS agreement sends a clear signal. Vietnam takes intellectual property rights seriously and is aligned with global standards. This is especially reassuring for foreign companies looking to invest here.
So there's a strong legal foundation in place.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, so now that we've got the legal basics down, let's walk through the practical steps. What's the trademark registration process like in Vietnam?
Well, the first step is something called a preliminary trademark search. It's like doing your due diligence, your homework, before making a big decision. It's crucial.
All right, so what does this search involve exactly?
You need to look for any trademarks that already exist and might be similar to yours. Imagine coming up with this brilliant brand name, you're all excited, then boom, another company has something very similar registered. That could lead to legal headaches and costly rebranding down the line. No one wants that.
Definitely not. So where do you do these searches?
There are online databases specifically for Vietnamese trademarks. You can hop on there and see what's already out there. But, having legal experts guide you through this can be super helpful. They know all the ins and outs and can save you from potential pitfalls.
And that's where Harley Miller Law Firm comes in. Our team's got tons of experience in trademark searches. We can give you that peace of mind you need.
Absolutely. Okay, so once you've checked and you're sure your trademark is unique, it's time to get that application ready.
All right, let's talk about that. What are the key things you need for a trademark application in Vietnam?
Article 100.1 of the Law on Intellectual Property outlines all the required documents. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. Basically, you need to provide a clear picture of your trademark, whether it's a word, a logo, a symbol, or a mix of those.
Got it. So it's about presenting your brand's visual identity clearly.
Exactly. And you also need to be specific about what goods or services your trademark will represent.
So, for example, if my company sells clothing, I can't just say, hey, I want to trademark my brand for everything. I need to be clear that it's for clothing.
You got it. The more specific you are, the better. It helps define the scope of your protection. Now, your trademark also needs to meet three main criteria to be eligible for registration in Vietnam. First, it needs to be distinctive. It's got to stand out from the crowd.
Okay, so it has to be unique. What else?
Second, it must be represented graphically. Think of it like a visual or audio snapshot. This could be a logo, a sound recording, a unique combo of colors. You get the idea. And lastly, your trademark needs to clearly distinguish your goods or services from everyone else's in the market. It's all about setting your brand apart.
Got it. It's about creating that unique brand identity. Now, you mentioned something earlier that sounded a little complicated, the NICE classification system.
It might sound intimidating, but it's actually pretty helpful. Basically, it's a global system that organizes goods and services into different categories, like a giant library, but for trademarks. This way, your protection is specific to what you're offering.
Okay, so that makes sense. But what if I mess up and accidentally classify my goods or services in the wrong category. What happens then?
Well, according to Article 105.3 of the Law on Intellectual Property and Decree 65033-CP, the agency might just classify it correctly for you. But there's usually a fee for that correction, so best to get it right the first time around.
Right, accuracy is key.
Yep.
Now, let's say we've got our application all polished and ready to go. What's next?
Next comes filing. Now, there's a little difference here depending on who's doing the filing. If you are an individual living in Vietnam or a foreign business with a presence here, you can file directly with the NOIP, the National Office of Intellectual Property.
And what if you don't have a presence in Vietnam?
Then you'll need a legal representative to file for you. That's one of the reasons why working with a firm like Harley Miller Law Firm can be so beneficial. We can guide you through it all.
Absolutely. Okay, so the application's been filed. What happens next?
The NOIP examines your trademark application. It's a two-stage process. First, they do a formal examination. Think of it as a quick check to make sure you've dotted your I's and crossed your teeth. All the required docs are there, everything's filled out correctly, and then they publish it. The second stage is the substantive examination.
What goes on in the substantive examination?
This is where they really dig deep into your trademark, making sure it's unique, distinctive, and won't cause any confusion with existing trademarks, like a quality control check to ensure your trademark stands out. All the nitty-gritty details of this process are laid out in Circular 233063 TT BKHCN.
Sounds thorough. While we're waiting for the examination process to wrap up, can you remind our listeners what documents they need to have ready for their application?
Sure. You'll need a fully completed declaration form, which is basically your official statement claiming your trademark. Then you'll need a clear representation of your trademark, your logo, design, wordmark. A list of all the goods and services your trademark will cover. Super important. And if you're using a legal representative, a power of attorney document is a must. Plus, any documentation proving prior registration rights in other countries, and of course, proof that you paid the required fees.
It's a lot to keep track of. Are there any resources to help businesses navigate all this?
Definitely. The National Public Service Portal for Trademark Registration is a great resource. You can find all the info you need there. And of course, at Harley Miller Law Firm, we're always here to help guide you, making sure your application process goes smoothly and successfully.
That's fantastic to hear. Now, we've covered the legal side and the registration process. Let's move on to the exciting part. How do you actually protect your trademark once it's registered in Vietnam?
Now, that's where things get really interesting. Vietnam offers a range of ways to help businesses enforce their trademark rights.
I'm all ears. Tell me more.
We'll dig into those right after a quick break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Vietnam Legal and Investment Insights. So right before the break, we are about to explore how businesses can actually enforce their trademark rights in Vietnam once they've got that registration. You know, it's like you have the keys to a brand new car, but you got to know how to drive it, right?
Exactly. So, what are these tools, these protection mechanisms that we're talking about?
Vietnam's got a few ways you can enforce your trademark rights. First off, administrative actions. Basically, you work directly with the authorities, like the market management authorities, to address any infringement you come across.
So you're talking about working with the authorities to, like, actually stop someone from using your trademark illegally?
You got it. It's all laid out in Decree 992013-NDCP, as amended by Decree 462024-NDCP. Those decrees give the framework for how these actions are taken and what penalties infringers might face.
Okay, so can we get into specifics? Like, what could happen if someone's caught using my company's logo without permission? They could be in for a bit of trouble. Fines are pretty common, or they might be ordered to stop using the infringing trademark right away.
No more slapping my logo on their products.
Nope. And the authorities can even make them destroy any materials that have the infringing trademark on them. Sometimes, if their business name is too similar to yours, they might even have to change it.
Sounds like Vietnam takes trademark protection seriously. So that's administrative actions. What are the other options?
You could also go the route of civil litigation, take the infringer to court, and seek remedies under Article 202 of the Law on Intellectual Property.
So that's about, like, seeking justice through the court system.
Exactly. You might want an injunction to stop them from using your trademark, or you might push for a public apology. You know, clear your brand's name and reputation. And of course, you can claim financial compensation for any damages caused.
So it's about setting the record straight and holding those infringers accountable.
You got it. Now, for the most serious cases, there's the option of criminal prosecution. That's governed by Article 226 of the Criminal Code, and it's reserved for the really bad violations.
Whoa, so you're saying trademark infringement can lead to criminal charges?
In certain cases, yeah, like if the infringement is on a massive scale, involves counterfeit goods that are dangerous to the public, or if it results in major financial losses.
And what kind of penalties are we talking about in those criminal cases?
It can get pretty serious. Hefty fines, suspension of business operations, even bans from operating in certain industries. They could also face restrictions on raising capital in the future. And even if they don't get those administrative penalties, there can still be fines of up to 500,000 VND for infringing industrial property rights.
Makes sense. Okay, so it's clear that Vietnam has a strong system in place to protect trademarks and intellectual property. But let's shift gears a little and talk about protection at the border. What's being done to stop counterfeit goods from even entering Vietnam?
That's where Customs Border Control comes in. Vietnam has some pretty robust measures to intercept those counterfeit goods before they can flood the market.
Okay, so how does that actually work?
Say you're a brand owner and you hear about a shipment of counterfeit goods with your trademark heading to Vietnam. You can tip off the customs officials and ask them to step in. They have the power to put the brakes on any goods they think might be infringing.
So they basically put the shipment on hold while they investigate.
Exactly. It gives them time to check things out, verify the goods are legit, and potentially take action against the importer.
It's like a safety net at the border, catching those fakes before they reach consumers.
You got it. And customs officials can be proactive, too. They can inspect and monitor goods at the border based on requests from trademark owners or just if they think someone's fishy. It's all about staying one step ahead of the game, you know?
Love it. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the challenges that businesses, especially foreign franchises, might face with trademark protection in Vietnam.
One of the most common and frankly frustrating challenges is trademark squatting.
Trademark squatting. Now that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
You're ready to launch your brand in Vietnam, you're excited, but then you find out someone else has already registered your trademark here.
Wait, hold on. So someone can just, steal your brand name. How does that even happen?
It happens more than you'd think. These trademark squatters, they often register trademarks they have zero intention of using themselves. They're hoping to either sell it back to you at a crazy price or just cause chaos and confusion.
That's a nightmare. So how can businesses protect themselves from these trademark squatters?
The best defense is a good offense. Register your trademark in Vietnam ASAP, even before you officially launch here. It's like staking your claim to the land, you know.
So early registration is key. Got it. But what else can businesses do?
Keep your eyes peeled. Regularly monitor trademark filings. If someone tries to register a mark that's even remotely close to yours, you need to be ready to fight back legally and challenge that registration.
Okay, so that's where having a good legal team on your side is essential.
100%. A firm like Harley Miller Law Firm, we're experts in Vietnamese trademark law. We can be your partner in navigating these tricky situations.
Makes sense. So we've talked about trademark squatting. What about counterfeit products? I imagine that's a big concern in Vietnam, too.
Counterfeit products are a major headache. These fake goods illegally using your brand's name, logo, or trademarks, often with terrible quality, potentially putting consumers at risk. It's a hit to your brand reputation and erodes consumer trust.
It's got to be frustrating to see your brand's reputation tarnished like that. So what can businesses do to combat this?
Be proactive. Don't hesitate to take legal action against anyone manufacturing, distributing, or selling counterfeit goods using your trademark.
Send a message. We're not messing around.
You got it. Regular market inspections are a good idea, too. You know, actually go out there, visit shops, and see if any counterfeit goods are being sold. Stop it right at the source.
Make the fight to them.
And working with the local authorities is super important, too. They have the power to seize those counterfeit goods, shut down illegal operations, and penalize those involved.
So it's about teamwork, building those relationships to protect your brand.
Exactly. And don't forget about the online world. Marketplaces and websites are a breeding ground for counterfeit goods. Keep an eye on those platforms, and if you find counterfeit products being listed, take steps to have them removed.
It's like a whole other battleground for brands. Okay, so we've got trademark squatting, counterfeit products. What else should businesses brace themselves for?
Well, sometimes enforcement delays and just the complexity of the legal system can be a pain. Things might not move as fast as you'd like, and the process can be pretty intricate.
So how do you deal with that? It sounds like a potential roadblock.
That's where having experienced legal counsel is crucial. Local experts, like the team at Harley Miller Law Firm, understand how things work here and can help you navigate the process smoothly and effectively. We know the ins and outs, the shortcuts, and the best strategies.
Like having a guide who knows the terrain.
Exactly. And think about alternative ways to resolve disputes, like mediation or arbitration. Those can be faster and less expensive than going through a full-blown court case. Oh, and one more thing. Don't underestimate the power of good documentation. The more organized and thorough your records are, the smoother the enforcement process will be.
Keep those receipts, contracts, and any evidence of infringement neatly filed away.
Documentation is your friend in these situations. So overall, when it comes to trademark protection in Vietnam, be proactive, be vigilant, and be prepared.
Love those three pillars. Now let's talk specifically about foreign franchisors. What advice do you have for them as they venture into the Vietnamese market and look to protect their trademarks?
Before you do anything, even before you invest a dime or sign any papers, do a thorough trademark availability search. Can't stress this enough.
I'm sensing a theme here.
It's that important. You have to be 100% sure your trademark isn't already registered or too close to an existing one. This can save you from major legal battles and rebranding headaches down the road.
And this is where having legal expertise really pays off, right?
Absolutely. Intellectual property lawyers in Vietnam, like our team at Harley Miller Law Firm, we know the system inside out, have access to all the latest databases, and can conduct those searches with pinpoint accuracy.
They're like expert scouts, making sure the coast is clear before you set up camp.
Exactly. And another tip, don't limit yourself to just registering your trademark in one class. Think about all the categories that might apply to your goods or services, even if you're not offering them right now. Registering in multiple classes gives you wider protection.
It's like building a bigger fence around your brand to keep those infringers out.
Exactly. And that's where understanding the NICE classification system is so important. A good lawyer can guide you through that maze and make sure you've got all your bases covered.
And anything else businesses should keep in mind when doing these checks?
You know, if your brand name has a special meaning or sound in Vietnamese, it's a good idea to register Vietnamese translations or transliterations of your brand name too.
Can you explain what you mean by transliteration?
Basically, it's converting a word from one script to another. Like, if your brand name is Sunshine, you'd look at how that sounds and find the closest equivalent using Vietnamese characters.
So capturing the essence of your brand in the local language.
You got it. This gives you an extra layer of protection. There are a few ways to stay ahead of the game. You can set up Google alerts for your brand name, and that way you'll be notified if anyone's using it online without your permission. Subscribe to industry newsletters and publications that focus on intellectual property issues in Vietnam. Staying informed is a huge part of the battle.
I like that knowledge is power. Any other proactive steps?
Register your trademarks with the Vietnamese customs authorities. That way, they're aware of your brand and know that there's potential for counterfeit goods. They'll be more likely to flag any shady shipments trying to get into the country.
Like giving the Border Patrol a heads up about potential troublemakers.
Exactly. It's a smart way to get the authorities on your side. And, if you have the budget for it, hiring private investigators to do market surveillance can be really effective too. They can check out shops, markets, online platforms, and see if anyone's selling counterfeit products using your trademark.
It's like having your own brand protection team on the ground.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to stand up for your rights. If you find someone infringing, send a cease and desist letter right away. Make it crystal clear that you're serious about protecting your brand and you're ready to take legal action if you have to.
It's about drawing a line in the sand.
You got it. And make sure to document everything. Keep records of all communication, any evidence of infringement, and any steps you take to enforce your rights. If you ever need to involve the authorities or take legal action, this documentation will be your best friend.
Building a strong case file.
Exactly. The more organized you are, the stronger your position will be. And of course, don't hesitate to reach out to legal professionals for guidance. A reputable firm like Harley Miller Law Firm, we've got a team of experienced trademark lawyers who can give you advice, guidance, and represent you in any legal proceedings.
Having the right experts in your corner makes all the difference.
Couldn't agree more. Trademark protection is an ongoing effort, but with the right knowledge, strategies, and support, you can protect your brand and set yourself up for success in the Vietnamese market.
So true. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of trademarks and intellectual property in Vietnam.
We hope our listeners have learned something new today and feel confident about protecting their brands in this exciting market.
So we've talked about staying vigilant, like trademark protection is a long game, But what are some, like, tangible things businesses can actually do to, keep their trademark safe in the long haul?
Okay, one of the best things, set up a system for regularly checking on your trademarks. Think of it like checking your bank statements. You wouldn't just assume everything's okay without looking.
Right. It's about keeping an eye on those assets.
Exactly. Set up Google alerts for your brand name and like any variations of it. That way you'll know if anyone's using your trademark online, without your permission. Subscribe to some industry newsletters, publications that focus on intellectual property stuff in Vietnam. Staying in the loop is crucial.
It's true. Knowledge is power. So what else can businesses do to be proactive?
Another good move, register your trademarks with Vietnamese customs. It's like giving them a heads up about your brand and the chances of counterfeit goods. They'll be more likely to catch those suspicious shipments trying to slip in.
So like a watch list for counterfeiters.
Exactly. It's using those resources, getting the authorities on your side. And if you can, if you have the resources, hire private investigators to do some market surveillance. They can check out shops, markets, online platforms, you name it. See if anyone's trying to sell fake products using your trademark.
It's like having your own brand protection squad out in the field.
Exactly. And when it comes to enforcement, don't be shy about asserting your rights. If you find someone stepping on your toes, send that cease and desist letter. Show them you mean business and you're not afraid to take legal action.
Make it clear you won't tolerate any funny business.
Exactly. And document, document, document. Keep track of everything, correspondence, evidence, any actions you take. All of that's going to be crucial if you need to get the authorities involved or, go to court.
It's like building your case brick by brick.
Exactly. The more organized you are, the better off you'll be. And of course, if you need help, don't hesitate to get legal advice from a firm like Harley Miller Law Firm. We have a team of really experienced trademark lawyers who can help you out.
Having the right experts can make all the difference.
Absolutely. Trademark protection, it's a continuous effort, but with the right info, strategies, and help, you can really safeguard your brand in Vietnam, Set yourself up for success in this amazing market.
So true. This has been such a fascinating look at trademarks and intellectual property in Vietnam.
We hope our listeners found it useful and feel ready to tackle this stuff, protect their brands in this exciting market.
And if any of our listeners have questions or need some guidance, how can they reach Harley Miller Law Firm?
You can give us a call at +84 93721 5585 or shoot us an email at emailprotected. We're always happy to help.
Wonderful. Well, that brings our deep dive into trademark protection in Vietnam to a close. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, protecting your trademark, that's an investment in your brand's future, and we're here to help you every step of the way.